Thank you, everybody, for coming to hang out with all of us today. My wife later on is going to ask me, why are you in the office yelling? And she'll know. She knows why, because I love what I do, and I get to be loud and have a little conversation. But here's the thing. Brendan alludes to it, and it is something where, like, I didn't always have a mentality of, like, joy and happiness at the onset. At this point in time, I'm sometimes too happy for my own good in my household. Like, everybody doesn't get up at my level. And it's okay. Like, I have understood this is who I am, but it's been a journey to get here. I do know that a lot of us all have the moments in time where at some point in the past there was this moment that just really sucked. Like it was hard to navigate. In the moment in time, we didn't know how to navigate it. And it's interesting is that's how we actually get programmed. I love when I saw the topic for this week being how to reprogram for positivity, because I'm like, oh, we get to dive into the identity stuff a little bit, which is where I love to hang out. For those of you guys who don't know my story, I'll kind of tell some stories today. I think that helps anchor kind of the concepts I'm going to teach you. But brief, we'll call it the Reader's Digest version. For those of you guys who remember the Reader's Digest that used to sit in the back of grandma's toilet when you go in there and you open it up and you sit there. Anyways, we're going a little bit deep, but you know what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, I had the situation where I was given away. Like at 3 years old, I was thrust into this world that was very unforgiving, we'll call it. Didn't have a lot of greatness around my circle. Didn't experience great things. I did not have a positive mentality, nor did I have I guess the makings of creating one. Like I was put in a situation where I had to navigate it. And for most people, whenever you experience something that is it's unsettling at a really deep level, at a stable level, it is completely almost impossible to find the joy in it in the real time. Like all you see is this sucks, and we stew in that, we stay in that, and it sucks because then what happens is we actually not just program our mindset for negativity, we program who we are. So when I talk to this today, I want you to kind of grasp that I have this perspective of connection to the person you are, the identity of this, in a way it's a little bit deeper than simply like how I see my day and going. There's a lot more depth to it. And so I tie it to identity. I wrote a book last year that was called Identity Shift. And it's a book that I have grown to love even more than when I first wrote it. It's weird. When we had our thing going on, or we had our last group to get together in Napa, I was like, this is not the book, but it's a really good book. And Brendan goes, hold on, bro, just for a second. Just so you know, for them, it is the book. And I was like, oh, I feel bad in front of all these cool people. He made me feel bad, but it's a good feel bad. Because like, you know what, it was the great book when I wrote it, but I thought I learned more afterwards. And after it got out into the world and it's come back to me, we'll call from like feedback. It's incredibly cool what was in the book, and what I'm finding out was even deeper than most people thought. But one of the sections that I want to speak to today is this kind of metaphor. One of the chapters is called Computer, COMPYOUTER, computer, which means you as a computer. So I want to set the framing for today in this aspect of essentially how we are programmed to begin with. Now, most of us don't think about this. We don't pay attention to it. However, we have these lives we're living, and we can pay attention to the lives outcomes we're having, and we don't always enjoy them. We want to have more positivity. We don't realize we can actually go to the root of something and adjust, I say, shift all of this. So let's unpack this metaphor real quick. Then I want to go down the journey of understanding your brain, how this thing works, and how we all do things. So think of it like a computer has this thing we're using now. It has the hardware, right? I have my physical computer, my trackpad that I have. I got the keyboard, the mouse. You have a screen you're watching me on right now. And if you don't have the computer, you have a phone. Same kind of concept. Now you also have on this computer, the hardware, you have these programs, right? So right now we're using Zoom to go back and forth. Some of you on the GrowthDay app, it's a program. You might also have the music program to play music you want to listen to, QuickTime to watch videos, right? These are all programs. You also happen to have files the program plays, right? So I have to have a music file for the program to play the music. I have to have a video camera giving feed so Zoom program can show me over here and you over there, right? There's different files that are going in and out completely. Now, all of these things seem seamless. They operate, but there's this little thing that's completely invisible in the background, and we call it iOS for Mac, or you may call it Windows. It's an operating system. Now, the operating system is invisible. No one's looking and going, oh, that's iOS. We just know that it allows the programs to be seen, files to be played, hardware to show it all. It all works great. So how does this tie to your life? Well, if you think about the computer, every once in a while, something happens where something kind of comes in the side of your corner of your screen. It's a little snooze button, or like a little button that says, hey, do you want to upgrade this program or do this thing? And you go, I'm busy right now. Let me go and push this away. Who has had that happen on their computer in the last like month or so? The little alert comes through. We got a hand up. You go, I'm busy. I got to push this to the side. So we push it to the side. We don't pay attention to it. Keep on doing our thing. And then a little bit later, all of a sudden, the computer might get a little bit slower. It might heat up a little bit. I see some definitely in the background. This little thing comes up again. Hey, Do you want to update this? There's new Mac OS, Princess available. Like, do you want that? Like, no, I got to keep doing my thing. I'm too busy right now to be focused on the computer updating. But at some point in time, who knows? There's a moment when your computer just all of a sudden says, you know what? I'm done working. I'm not going to do this anymore. And the computer, it'll heat up and shut down. It'll freeze. It'll bog. You'll get the thing where you start something that keeps shutting down. And you're like, what is going on? And you go, oh, yeah, I got to update that thing. So what do? You go into the computer's operating system, click the button, update this software, update this thing. And it updates. Now, what does it do? It takes some time. It'll say another 1 hour, 36 minutes remaining. You're like, oh, my God. What do I do in this? It's frustrating, right? But eventually it comes back. It's all updated. It's faster. It's quicker. You can do more. Like you feel like I can do what I want to do now and live life. We are the exact same way. Interestingly, like I look at it just like computers. We have hardware. This right here is our hardware. My hardware is my body. You have a physical body as well, a brain, right? You also have programs. You have a marriage. You have a career. You have hobbies you like to do. Those are your programs. You also have files, right? The books you read that come and make your life better. The food you eat that improves the hardware. Like there's these different pieces that are files, but there is something that allows it all to come together, which is your operating system. That operating system, it's your identity. It's who you are when you are not thinking about who you are. It's the thing that goes on the background it's the instinctual gut reaction portion. In fact, it exists in a space where if you think about it, you actually can't pinpoint it. Neurologically, if they put these diodes on your brain and they ask you who you are, there's a part of your brain called the default mode network, the DMN, and that thing shuts down whenever you start thinking about who you are. Because what we do is we go, well, I got a car and I'm a coach and I'm a speaker and I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a parent, all these things. That's what I am. But that part shuts down. Now, if I was to have you just sit there and daydream and look at things, it lights up. You all of a sudden, like when you start looking at the birds fly by and your body goes, I love birds. I love birds. Look at that beautiful bird, right? Or you walk outside and you can smell like the summertime or springtime and your brain goes, oh, I love this. You're not processing. It's just happening in real time. That energy, or something happens and somebody cuts you off in traffic, there's an instinctual response that you have. Things just happen without you consciously thinking about it. That is, in fact, your identity showing up in real time. And the identity has actions. It has habits. Those create your life. Now, for a lot of us, unfortunately, we weren't paying attention to this. And so while in a computer, you can click the button and do whatever it is, in our life, we were already programmed. Teachers, preachers, coaches, leaders, news, television, radio, friends, these different things were coming into our life. Sometimes subconsciously, we're being fed in and they were programming the computer. And then what happens at a certain point in time in your life, you're running your life. And then people come to you and go, hey, you know what? You're kind of a little bit rude. That button comes up. You go, oh, snooze that. I'm not trying to hear that from you. I don't want to hear that. That's not making me feel good. I'm going to keep doing my thing. And you keep doing your life. And all of a sudden, like you're in a relationship and then your partner says, hey, can you give me a little more time? Oh, snooze, I don't got time for that. I got to work. I got to take care of the stuff. We keep snoozing all these alerts. Your body comes up, says, hey, you got a little high blood pressure. You're a little bit heavier than you used to be. Maybe you should see a doctor. Nah, snooze that. I got to keep focusing on work. I got stuff to do. I can't pay attention to that. And just like a computer, eventually things shut down. Now, a computer, it's a little different. You can boot it back up. But for us, when things shut down, they shut down hard. Hopefully, it's not the big shutdown, right? But sometimes it's a mental breakdown because I can't see joy or positivity. Sometimes it's an emotional breakdown. Relationships fall apart. My health falls apart. Things happen and I just go, man, if only I would have not snoozed it and paid attention to it, I could have paid attention to what had to be done. I could have reprogrammed it. Now, I'm going to talk today about how we do that intentionally, not when things go crazy, because you either expand or you elevate on demand or when crap hits the fan. And I want to talk about how to program on demand, not when crap hits the fan, because if you do when that takes place, you're way behind the ball. But there's ways to actually do this. And it feels just like a computer. Because what does it mean? Well, a computer goes, okay, in that hour 36, I have to download information. I got to wait for the download. Then I got to have the computer verify and authenticate all the stuff it does. And then eventually what happens is I got to sit back and I got to upload it into life. Now, what this looks like in our life is sitting back and going, let me hear the things that I need to hear. Not what I want to hear, what I need to hear. Because every single one of us, if we were to sit down with the people in our life and say, hey, I need you to tell me things about me that I have not, been open to hearing before, or you've been apprehensive to tell me what that is. They'll tell you, you'll download that stuff. And then part of it's like your wife says, you don't spend enough time with me. And I feel like I'm not getting enough attention and you don't communicate well. Okay, great. It's a download. Sometimes it's hard for people to hear. The upload's even harder. I'm going to spend time focusing on this. I'm going to allocate energy there. And it's a little bit weird and wonky. I feel like it's not who I am to do it yet, but I got to do that. It's how we reprogram.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.